Marcos is a teenager who lives with his parents in a modest house, located at the center of a large farm where they take care of the cattle. The house is small and humble, but it is always bustling with activity. Every day, the family works tirelessly to care for and protect the cows, cleaning, feeding, and keeping watch over them. The pace is demanding, but familiar. Amidst this daily routine, Olga carefully examines some garments that another woman from the village has brought her. She compares fabrics, inspects seams, and feels the textures. Marcos approaches, curious, and helps her choose. He points out what he likes, describes colors and shapes, and lingers over the pieces that catch his eye the most. Olga listens, but weighs every gesture. The silence grows heavy as Marcos's interest seems to cross an invisible line. Something about her son's behavior unsettles her. In the next scene, Olga tries on a skirt and asks Marcos to adjust it for her because it's too big. He doesn't obey. He puts on the skirt himself, models it in front of the phone's camera, and smiles with joy. Then, he takes thread and needle and calmly sews it so it fits him perfectly. With firm stitches, he secures what he wants to wear. The tension with his mother remains suspended, unresolved. Later, the owner of the ranch arrives at the house with his son and announces something serious. 5 cows have been violently killed. The owner speaks to Marcos's father, his face stern and his voice urgent. He asks him to stay alert, to always carry a shotgun, and to defend the property if necessary. The men nod, scan the fence with their eyes, and count the sleepless nights ahead. Worry settles in like a shadow around the corral. After that warning, Marcos spends time with his friend Laura. He helps her put on makeup naturally, moving the brush with a steady hand. He comes home late and Olga waits for him, upset about the delay. As soon as he has a moment alone, Marcos takes Laura's mascara and carefully applies it to his eyelashes. Then, they find another dead cow on the farm. Marcos's father feels like he's failing, that he can't do it all, that he's neglecting what he should be protecting. The pressure builds up and his body can't take it. He suffers a massive heart attack. The family is left shaken without guidance and the house loses its center. Olga and her children are left helpless in the vastness of the countryside. The absence creates a void that weighs on every unfinished task. After the tragedy, Marcos takes on more responsibilities with the cattle. His brother teaches him how to milk. When he's done, he returns to his refuge, his sewing machine. This time, he makes something for himself. A dress he plans to wear that night at a village party, covered by a mask. He goes out to dance, moves freely, and for a while, breathes without hiding. That night, already in the early hours, Marcos and Laura arrive at a bar. They keep dancing, surrounded by lights and loud music. At one point, Marcos approaches a boy from the village, dances with him, and introduces himself as Marilyn. The party is about to end, and they get ready to leave. On the way, the village boys, including those who had harassed him, intercept them and demand that Laura leave. The street empties around them and danger approaches with determined steps. When Laura leaves, the bullies surround Marcos. They force him to kneel, intimidate him, and make him do things no one should have to experience. They end up beating and kicking him on the ground, while 2 of them hold him so that the one who danced with him can take advantage of Marcos. There are no witnesses to stop the violence. Wounded and humiliated, Marcos walks alone down the road, his clothes disheveled and his face marked. When he gets home, Olga is angry and demands an explanation. She scolds him for getting into a fight and for going to town dressed like that. She asks who saw him like that. Marcos lowers his gaze, avoids answering, and withdraws into his own silence. The conversation goes nowhere, and the rift between them deepens. The next morning, Olga goes through her son's belongings. She finds every feminine garment and everything she associates with what she calls the feminine. She takes everything out to the yard and burns it in a bonfire, firm and relentless. Marcos watches without saying a word, his eyes fixed on the flames. Shortly after, Marcos decides to follow his impulse and goes to town to buy another dress that he finds beautiful. When he returns home, he looks at it with fascination, lingering over the folds and the way the fabric falls. The joy doesn't last long. Olga notices something strange. She enters his room and checks his bag. She finds the dress and asks what it is. Marcos replies that it's a gift for her. Olga doesn't know if she likes it, but she thanks him. The balance is maintained with difficulty. In the early morning, a noise wakes Olga and her children. They go out with flashlights, walk around the property, and search for signs among the shadows. They don't find anyone or any clear clues. They decide to count the livestock to make sure everything is in its place. When the owner arrives, Olga informs him that they have lost 2 cows. He asks them to come with him. He needs to find the person responsible. The night offers no certainties, only the urgency to act. The next day, the owner talks to Olga, frustrated. He tells her that without her husband, the farm is left unprotected and the cows are in danger. He tells her that they must look for another place to live because he can no longer guarantee their safety. Olga listens, surprised and worried, not knowing where to go. The man clarifies that someone else would charge them for the lost cows, but he will not. He only asks that they vacate soon. Time becomes yet another threat. The next day, Olga goes to town with her children to look for a house. There are few options and the market is scarce. After walking a lot, they find a small, cheap house, still under construction, and it's the only option available. Olga gives Marcos some money and asks him to buy something at the store. He goes into a nearby shop and meets Federico, the young man working there. They talk. Marcos feels comfortable and asks for his number. Federico gives it to him with a smile, and something new is hinted at. Later, he sends a photo to Federico, introduces himself, and suggests meeting the next day. The next day, he goes to the store and invites him to see the house where he will live with his family. He shows him the space and explains the layout. Their trust grows step by step. Taking advantage of being alone, they record a TikTok, laugh, improvise, and move without thinking too much about it. Later, Olga and her children go to the office to buy the house. They go over the paperwork and ask about the process. They discover that her husband didn't leave any money in the bank, making the purchase impossible. The plan falls apart with no remedy. The option that seemed to offer them a place vanishes, leaving only uncertainty. That night, during dinner, Marcos gets a phone call. He says it's Laura, but when he steps out to answer, it's actually Federico who wants to know how he's doing. Marcos suggests meeting the next day. Marcos goes to Federico's house. He has breakfast with his parents, who treat him kindly and accept him without reservation. The table is warm, the atmosphere is close, and he relaxes. It's a different environment from the one he experiences at home. On the next visit, Federico comes to Marcos's house. He welcomes him excitedly. It's the first time he's introduced someone special. The atmosphere, however, is tense. Olga and the brother are stiff. Lunch becomes uncomfortable. The glances are heavy and words are scarce. Olga starts to suspect that the relationship is more than just friendship, and the air grows tense. Shortly after, Olga sees them kissing in the car. She reacts with fury. She pulls Federico out of the vehicle and throws him out of the house. She hits Marcos in anger, not holding back. That night, dinner is silent. No one speaks and Marcos bears the weight of what happened. Later, he tries to call Federico, but he doesn't answer. He leaves messages asking if Federico loves him and says that he does love him. He only gets the voicemail in response. The absence becomes an insurmountable wall. The next day, Marcos is eating when Laura calls him. Olga orders him not to answer until the call drops. She thinks Laura is a bad influence and blocks any connection. The table falls silent and the isolation grows. After eating, Marcos tries to call Federico again. Olga confronts him, takes his phone, and doesn't give it back. He struggles, but she clings to the device with determination. Communication is abruptly cut off. Helplessness settles into the room. Marcos's depression deepens. Suddenly, a worker sent by the owner arrives, intending to evict them by force. Olga tells her children to stay quiet, to pretend no one is home. The man waits, listens, and finally leaves. The threat, however, lingers near the door. As night falls, Marcos can't sleep. He puts on a t-shirt, walks to the kitchen, and looks for the shotgun that had belonged to his father. With trembling hands, he loads it and goes to the bedroom. First, he tragically shoots his own brother, and then, with tears streaming profusely down his face, he shoots his mother.